This week was Australia Day, so I figure it was time to tell this story. My grandpa grew up in Robe in the southeast of South Australia, and in 1946, his dad built a house in the southern part of the town, which was unsettled. He'd started building a house in the northern part of the town, but he was told by his in-laws, piss off, this is our area. It was nearly 80 years later that a member of that in-law family told my grandpa that in the 1850s, Chinese migrants used to land at Robe to avoid Victorian gold taxes and then walk overland out to the goldfields. Extra police were sent out to Robe to control those Chinese migrants and push them on. And when there was nothing for those police to do, it was known in the town that they would go down into that southern region and hunt Aboriginal people. In 1946, when my grandpa's dad was building his house in that same southern region, those massacres were already 90 years ago. People who grew up in Robe would have learned about those stories in the quiet way that stories are passed down through generations and families, and maybe some of them even associated that southern region of the town with those shameful events that had happened so long ago. That would explain why none of them built houses and lived in such a beautiful part of country. And when they saw my grandpa and his brothers and sisters growing up in that land, they thought, why tell them and spoil it for the newcomers? Maybe it's time to move on. There are so many stories like this from all over our country, buried not out of malice, but out of fear and shame. But I promise you, we will never be able to move on until we acknowledge that these things happen, say sorry, and ask for forgiveness.